I worked at a Honda dealership for nearly 3 years, but I still chose to buy a brand new Toyota, and here's why. So while I was at that dealership, my job was basically to pick up and drop off cars. So I got to drive a bunch of brand new cars, older cars, and everything in between. Now, obviously, it was a Honda dealership, so it was mainly Honda cars. And through that experience of being able to drive them around, test everything, use the Apple CarPlay, use all the features of the car, I just found that Hondas they're very nice and they also are very reliable. But I just felt like they're a little bit more stiff and a little bit less comfortable than Toyotas. Like, I feel like Hondas are more stiff and sporty, which is good for some people. But when I'm looking for a daily driver, I personally prefer something that's just like extremely comfortable and loose. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel like I'm sitting in a couch and kind of I can slouch back. I don't want to feel like I have to like sit upright, and I don't want the steering to be super tight and sporty when I'm daily driving a car, especially because when I'm driving mainly highway miles. I'm not someone who likes to drive super fast or aggressive, and I also don't need a very fast car. So honestly, like, Toyotas, in my opinion, are just a lot more comfortable. At least when it comes to the Camry versus the Honda Accord, I personally think the Camry is much more comfortable, especially with the leather seats. Now, another reason I also went with the Camry instead of a Honda Accord or a Honda Civic, whatever, is just because I had a Civic in the past and I did not have a good experience with it. Now, obviously, it's completely different when you're looking at shopping for new cars compared to used. I had a bad experience with my Civic because I only got it for $2,000 and I bought it off some dude that replaced the engine. There were a bunch of red flags with it, so that's my fault, and I'm not assuming that all Hondas are going to be like that. But I'm just saying I personally had a bad experience, which kind of led me away from Honda compared to Toyota. Also, reliability is a big factor that I kind of took into consideration when looking for a new car. Everybody that I know that's had a Toyota has had very minimal problems with it. They've just done like simple stuff like oil changes, rotated tires, and their Toyota has lasted so long. Even while working at Honda, I've seen high mileage Hondas upwards of like 200K, but when it comes to Toyotas, I've heard of people having Toyotas up to 300, 400, even 500K miles. Not to mention, there's certain Toyotas, especially, I feel like Toyota just has a stronger reputation of reliability, whether it's like the Toyota Hiluxes in the Middle East, or whether it's the infamous, 4.7, 5.7 liter V8 that Toyota makes in the Tundras and Sequoias. I always just hear great things about the long-term reliability of Toyotas. There's even some dude that like hit 1 million miles on his Toyota Tundra 2 times. Like, if you just do the bare minimum and just do the maintenance that you're supposed to do on your Toyota, I feel like 9 times out of 10, it's going to last longer than the Honda. Like, when I think of a reliable car, the first thing I think of is a Toyota Camry. And that's kind of what led me in my mind to just kind of look after that specifically. I didn't even look at a Honda Accord. Keep in mind, at the time when I was shopping for a new car, I was very desperate to get into a new one. I didn't really spend too much time doing a bunch of research, shopping around. I just kind of thought, hey, I need a new car right now. I'm tired of buying used ones. So what's the most reliable car I can think of? Toyota Camry. Bam, went to the dealership and kind of did that. Obviously, in hindsight, that was not the smartest thing to do. I should have done a lot more research, shopped around for different prices and different deals, looked at different trims, makes, and models. But ultimately, this is what I ended up doing, and I ended up going with the 2023 Toyota Camry. I also liked the exterior look of the Toyota Camry, especially this generation, a lot better than the newer Honda Accords. I feel like the newer Honda Accords look like a little bit too futuristic and too like electric-y and hybrid-y for me personally, whereas the Toyota Camry, the 8th generation, I feel like it still looks pretty sporty. Even though it's slow, I feel like the exterior, it looks very sporty, especially because I got the SE version, so it's like has all these cool angles to it. I was also able to get a cool color, which is like in between white and gray. It's an ice edge color, and I was also able to get a pretty unique trim, which is the SE all-wheel drive. Now, I'm not too sure with at the time it would have been 2023, so I'm not sure if that generation of Honda Accords or Civics had all-wheel drive, but the area I live in snows every single winter, and some winters, especially this winter, it got pretty bad actually. There was a lot of snow, so it's important in my daily driver that it's obviously equipped for the heat and equipped for the snow, so all-wheel drive is very important to me. So thankfully I was able to find a Camry that had all-wheel drive, and it also came with a heated steering wheel, heated seats package. And I think the whole thing the Honda's been kind of trying to do recently with their Accords or actually for a while now, is they've been trying to make them pretty sporty. Like, I've driven a lot of the 2.0 T Sports at my old job, and they were super fun to drive. They were actually really fast. But the thing about those is a lot of Honda Accord engines have a 1.5 turbo, where they just have a 2.0 turbo, whatever. They have a turbo in them, and that makes them really fun to drive because obviously you can hear that turbo spool. It's a little bit faster, but it also leads to making it not as reliable long term. You know, when it comes to having turbos, there's so many issues that can go wrong with them. Something can get stuck in them, the turbos can blow, and it's just another part that you have to worry about at the end of the day. Now, when it comes to long-term reliability, the Toyota Camry that I chose to get does have a 4-cylinder engine, so does the Honda, but I have an 8-speed automatic transmission, which I feel like is going to be able to outlast any engine that the Accord comes with. I feel like this engine has just kind of stood the test of time. It's been known to be reliable, and I've seen many even Toyota Camrys of my generation on Facebook Marketplace or at used car dealerships that have over like 150,000 miles, and they hold their value a lot better than the Honda Accords. That's what it seems like from my research, at least. And because the Toyota Camrys tend to hold their value better, it kind of shows me that in the future, if I were ever to get rid of this car or trade it in, or if I need something else for my lifestyle, whatever, the point is it's going to hold its value better than the Accord, while also being slightly more reliable. I like the look better. I like the drive better. And at the end of the day, that's the most important factor. That's the main reason why I chose a Toyota over the Honda. It's because I've driven so many Hondas, and the second I test drove this Toyota Camry, I instantly knew that, you know, this car feels very, very comfortable. It literally feels like a couch cushion, and it just feels like a cloud on wheels, especially brand new off the lot. The steering is super loose. It's very nice. It's just very fluid compared to the Honda Accords or just the Hondas in general. Hondas, they kind of feel a little bit more rough around the edges. The steering is a little bit tighter, like I mentioned earlier. And I just feel like it depends. Like, if you're super big into cars and you like want a car that's built for a driver, maybe a Honda's better for you. It's more torquey, it's a little bit fast, it's a little bit more fun. But if you want just something more relaxed and chill, comfortable, I would definitely recommend a Toyota Camry. And that's ultimately why I chose the Toyota Camry. Now, I do have to give it to Honda that their interiors are slightly more technologically advanced. I mean, I paid a lot of money for this car, $32,000 out the door, not including all the other fees and taxes associated with it, $32,000 out the door. And it has heated seats, heated steering wheel, blind spot monitors, all these cool features, right? But it doesn't even have push to start, whereas the Hondas, even back in like 2015, they have push to start that comes standard on all of their vehicles now, which is kind of crazy that, you know, I paid all this money, I still don't even get that such a simple feature. So the Toyota Camry packages are a little bit more strange, I would say. Like, they don't make as much sense as maybe Honda, whereas they have, you know, pretty advanced features that just come standard. But ultimately, another big selling point that I kind of talked about earlier is just the all-wheel drive. Like, where all-wheel drive is so helpful, and the fact that I still get 30 miles per gallon with all 4 tires spinning is kind of crazy. Like, normally all-wheel drive, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot on gas mileage because all 4 tires are spinning. But even with this Toyota Camry, I still get great gas mileage. I still get a super comfortable ride. And honestly, this thing in the snow, I've driven down to West Virginia when there was, you know, a bunch of snow. The roads weren't even plowed yet, and this thing handled it like a beast. I went skiing up in the mountains, and I've driven on multiple road trips while there's lots of snow, rain, or ice, and this thing has just handled it perfectly. The all-wheel drive system in this Camry works very, very well, and I'm super surprised. Like, I have friends that also have all-wheel drives in their car, and it still doesn't keep up. And ultimately, where I live in Virginia, the weather is kind of unpredictable. It's known for being very unpredictable. It can say one thing and be a complete another thing. It can say it can snow and then it snows a ton, or it can say it'll snow and then it snows nothing at all. So because of that unpredictable weather, I would just prefer to have all-wheel drive. I feel like it's safer, more reliable, and just in the long term, I can definitely see this as a better option than the Honda Accord, combining all the features, the reliability, the comfort, the safety, the all-wheel drive capability, and just the whole package in itself is kind of what led me towards this Toyota Camry. Now, I'm not going to lie, obviously I didn't do that much research back then, but looking back on it, I'm very, very glad that I chose a Toyota Camry because I honestly love this car so much. I'm going to drive it till it dies, and now that it's paid off, there's literally no reason for me to get another car ever until this thing dies. I want to drive it so long that I can like give it to my kid as his first car, and I'm planning on following all the proper maintenance, getting the oil changes, doing all the stuff necessary to make sure this thing literally like lasts a lifetime. And yeah,